I kind of remember Jon Stewart and brought on RFK Jr. in the early 2000s to talk about his research on vaccines, and he thanked him for his work. Joe Scarborough had RFK Jr. on, and he commiserated, said that his son was injured by a vaccine, and then all of a sudden it just all went away. So what happened?
Well, I learned only with the benefit of hindsight that at the time we were starting to feel pushback over these sorts of stories, the pharmaceutical industry was making new partnerships with media organizations, including CBS News at the corporate level. And together, Pharma and these media corporations were lobbying as partners on Congress to loosen up the rules to allow more pharmaceutical advertising on TV and other media. People may not know if they're not old enough. This was forbidden against the law until what I think is relatively recent history, and it's forbidden in most other countries to advertise prescription drugs. But that meant billions and billions and over time trillions of dollars for the media companies with this partnership. And as that partnership was being forged at the corporate level, we were starting to feel the effects of it in the news division at CBS, and I'm sure that happened at the other media outlets as well.
And so when you refer to it as a partnership, what do you mean by a partnership?
Well, I was told specifically that lobbyists from the corporation at CBS went together with pharmaceutical industry lobbyists on Capitol Hill to lobby members of Congress to make sure that there was more advertising allowed on the network. So literally a partnership to try to financially benefit both sides of the equation, but I would argue maybe at the expense of public health.
So that's quite a partnership. So it just sounds like corruption, right?
Listen, I have my own thoughts over time about whether those types of partnerships should be allowed ethically and how they could be firewalled, at least from the news divisions, but they are not. I expect that these pharmaceutical companies would want to increase their bottom line the best they can. I am not shocked, especially with what I know now, that they might hide or cover up the things that they've done that, about side effects from drugs and dangers and harms has been well documented because they have a fiduciary duty to their shareholders or whoever they're reporting to make money. But we in the media were supposed to be, at least I thought, sort of firewalled for that so we could at least provide some independent oversight, particularly when Congress also fails to do so because both parties, Republicans and Democrats, get so much of their money from the pharmaceutical industry now.
So what I often say is that, when a news agency gets money from an advertiser, in theory, it's to take that money that provides the money, the resources so they can do investigations. And what they're really doing is bribing the news companies. So they're funding their non-investigation, correct?
Yeah. It not only influences theoretically the advertising they get on the network, but we have seen that it largely influences the stories that don't get done. So it wasn't just that, and I certainly don't object to the pharmaceutical industry wanting their side of the story heard in a controversy, of course, in a story. But it came to be, and this is commonplace now, it just wasn't back then around the 2006 time period, where they didn't want stories to air at all. And some, managers who I think were conflicted at the networks and other media organizations also were starting to censor stories that had not been done on such a large scale before. So I knew something was wrong and something was different when they weren't just arguing, be sure to tell both sides of this argument. They were just saying, we can't tell this story at all. The people must not know about it.